What if one man, with no fame, no fortune, and no followers, could bring an entire forest back to life? What if, with nothing more than a sack of acorns, a walking stick, and quiet faith, he could change the destiny of an entire region? This is not the story of a superhero, not a legend written in stone. It's the true story of a humble shepherd who, step by step, seed by seed, transformed a dying land into a living paradise. His name was Elzéard Bouffier, and though he planted trees in silence, the world would one day listen. It was the year 1910. A young traveller, weary from life and longing for solitude, wandered into the remote valleys of Provence in southern France. What greeted him was not beauty, but desolation. The earth was cracked and dry. No trees, no birds, just endless wind sweeping across dead soil, carrying dust and silence. Once people had lived here, farmers, families, communities. But over time, they had left. The wells had dried, the crops had failed. The land had been abandoned and forgotten. As the traveller pressed deeper into the valley, expecting only ruin, he saw something strange. A man, alone, kneeling on the ground, not praying, planting, one acorn at a time, with great care, as if each seed held the promise of a forest yet to come. No audience, no applause, just a shepherd, quietly sowing life where the world saw only death. His name was Elzéard Bouffier, a tall, thin man in his 50s with eyes like quiet rivers, deep, clear, and steady. He had once lived a different life, but after the loss of his wife and only son, he withdrew from the world. He settled in the hills with only his sheep, his dog, and a silent determination. Every day, after tending to his flock, Bouffier would collect the best acorns, examining each one for strength and potential. And every evening, he would walk far across barren hills, dig small holes with his stick, and plant. Not 10, not 20, 100 acorns every single day. He didn't speak of his dream, he simply lived it, quietly, faithfully, alone. Through scorching summers and frozen winters, he planted. When war came to France and men destroyed forests with bombs and fire, Bouffier kept planting. Year after year, the land began to shift. Sprouts pierced the soil, saplings reached toward the sky. What had once been a graveyard of dust slowly began to breathe again. Birds returned, first in ones and twos, then in flocks. Streams reappeared, fed by new roots holding the earth. He never asked for help. He never needed permission. He simply believed that even in silence, life can grow. Decades passed. The traveller returned again and again. Each time, he was astonished. Villages once empty were now full of children's laughter. The barren hills had become lush forests. The wind, once dry and bitter, now whispered through leaves. Farmers came back. Families built homes again. Schools, churches, and wells reappeared. And still, Bouffier said nothing. He never told anyone what he was doing. He just smiled, nodded, and kept planting. By 1947, over 10,000 hectares of forest stood tall, rich with oaks, maples, and beeches. Scientists came to study the miracle. Government officials declared it a protected forest, but none of them knew the truth. It had not been a miracle. It had been the patient labor of one man, with a heart full of hope. Elzéard Bouffier died peacefully in 1947. He never asked for thanks. He never saw himself as special. But he left behind something greater than monuments or medals, a living forest, a living lesson. In a world of noise, hurry, and doubt, we often ask, what difference can I make? Bouffier's story answers with quiet certainty. You don't need an audience to change the world. You need vision, courage, and the will to begin, one seed at a time. He planted trees. But what could you plant? An act of kindness, a habit of peace, a commitment to something that grows beyond yourself. Because sometimes, the smallest seeds create the strongest forests. If this story moved you, leave a comment below and write, "I will plant hope." Share this video with someone who needs a little faith today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you won't miss our next Whisper of Wisdom. Together, let's keep planting stories, kindness, and courage.